Hey guys, it's Erin. Happily we go, and it's PB and Journal Tuesday. So we're gonna break open this baby. There's the first page we did. Look at, I almost just kind of love this page as it is, so it's gonna be hard to cover it up, but that's what we're going to do today. And I thought it would be fun to play with some texture. So before we get started, I have a piece of old book page and some washies. So I'm gonna glue this down with some Oohoo glue stick. I'm not gonna be super careful with it. I'm just going to slap it on down and get our first layers going. So we're going to break out the Crackle paste. Now, the one thing I love about doing a series like this, like getting back into the art journaling roots, is it's forcing me to come back to a lot of the mediums and textures and just a lot of stuff that I love playing with that sometimes just doing portraits you forget that you have and you don't use. So we're going to have lots and lots of fun with lots and lots of layers of texture today. We're going to start with some Crackle paste, and I'm just going to slap it down with my, my spatula here. And then I'm going to take this crumpled paper towel and I'm going to dab it into it. This is going to add a little bit of extra texture, and then just kind of in some parts use my finger to smooth it out. And now I'm going to grab some Brea Reese matte metallic texture paste, and this stuff is so pretty, and it dries and it's got this little hint of sparkle to it, and I thought it would be fun to have some sparkle on the page, you know, because of course, if you haven't guessed, we're probably going to get a little grungy because that's what I love. So we're going to add that through another stencil, and the Crackle paste is not dry. Everything that I'm doing right now is just on top of the wet Crackle paste. And it's okay if the bottom layers get a little smudgy, that's fine. We don't want this perfect. And now I'm going to grab this glossy dimensions, which I've never used before. Look at that, it looks almost like marshmallow fluff, which is fun. And I'm going to throw it through this. It might actually be getting a little old because it's kind of hard, but that's okay because we're using it now. And I'm going to put some squares down. So if I mess up the other stencils, that's fun because it's going to give us this fun look. Now, the only reason I'm layering all of these now is because I'm going to let it dry overnight. And instead of like waiting forever and ever and ever for stuff to dry, I'm doing it all at once and saving myself some time. So once it's done, let it air dry. You could probably do it all day. If you want to speed things along with your heat tool, you could, but you're probably not going to get any crackling effect with the heat tool. And good morning, we're back. Look at that. Look at that sparkle, how it dried. Isn't that just gorgeous? Oh, it's making my grungy heart so happy. You can still see a lot of the paper below and some of the book pages, so it's awesome. So now I've got a very, very watered down PaperArtsy paint, and I will put down in the description box below everything that I used today. If I haven't shown it on screen, well, even then I'll put it down there too. And I'm just getting it super wet and just going to go back around, and we're going to get into those little crackle cracks and add a hint of color. I don't want to go super heavy. I just want to layer it up slowly to give us that color. And now here's one of my new favorites. It's the ArtGraf Graphite water-soluble little puck here. And if you have like a, you could use a Stabilo if you wanted to, even though that's not really graphite, but just to kind of give us that same kind of grunge look. But I'm loving this stuff, so if you guys are looking for it, Amazon has it. It's wonderful. You don't have to have it, but I think it's fun. And now I've got a big brush, and I'm just kind of, you know, adding it here and there all over the place. just to give us a little bit more of that grunge look. And then of course dry it between each of your layers. Now I'm going to break out this fun stamp from Carabelle Studios. It's called Calcul. It's so much fun. I'm a nerd. I love mathematical stuff, and we're just going to stamp some math in the background here using an archival stamp pad. So I'm just going to stamp it everywhere willy-nilly, and then I'm actually going to take the whole pad and run it over top of the page. And everywhere where my texture is raised up, it's going to catch on the ink and give it a little bit more color and added extra effect. I have this BoBunny stamp pad, so here's some more fun texture stamps. And I'm going to pop this on the top of my ink pad lid because I don't know where my acrylic block is at the moment. And this works perfect, so then you never have to figure out where everything is. And I'm going to stamp some circles and then grab this lovely, lovely, lovely pink iridescent from P.H. Martin. It is so gorgeous, and I just need a hint of it on the page. So I'm going to go around some of those texture blocks and spray it with water and just let it run kind of wherever it wants to go, and then dry it up real good. Now at this point I'm starting to think focal point. So I grabbed my StazOn ink pad and this fun clocks stamp, which I'm not sure actually where it came from. I'll see if I can figure that out. And I'm going to stamp it onto some tissue paper. I found an old piece of tissue paper or deli paper, whichever you want to call it, and I stamped it on there. But it's kind of see-through-y, and I wanted it to pop a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is flip it over, and on the back side I'm going to add some gesso. Here's some acrylic gesso that I've just recently tried from Hobby Lobby. It's been sitting in my desk for a while, but I finished up my Rowney stuff, and I actually like this stuff. It's very, very smooth, which is my jam, because I don't like gritty gesso for some reason. For texture it's great, but not for when I just want to gesso something. So once I have that painted on there and dried up, I'm just going to rip around the edges and start thinking about how I want my focal piece to come together. So I'm going to add that thread down below and then a little bit on top of it too to kind of give us some fun stuff there. And now I have these beautiful butterflies. They're almost like an acetate, but I love that they have the old writing on it and the colors kind of match. So now I'm just going to figure out which ones I like and get them all laid out onto the page. We're trying out butterflies, let's say. Right, now that I have decided on a configuration of butterflies that I like, I feel like they don't pop so much. So what I'm going to do is grab that StazOn ink pad again, and I'm just going to go around the edges of the butterflies to darken it up a little bit, and it can be super messy. That's fine because we got a grungy page, and you know, then now we have like these beautiful distressed butterflies. So I'm going to do that to all of 3 butterflies. Now we're going to go ahead and grab some matte medium and glue down all of our little bits. We'll do the layers here. And then I was thinking for the butterfly, instead I could just glue it down straight, but I think I might use the 3M foam tape, and this will give it a little bit of dimension. It's not anything fancy as far as foam tape. You can get it in any store, hardware stores, Walmart carries it. But it's fun, and it adds a lot of dimension to anything, you know, either journal pages or whatever you're creating. I love using it on cards to kind of pop up elements. sentiment, I just have one of the Tim Holtz sentiments. I think it's Small Chit Chat is the name of the sentiment book. And I'm just going to cut the sentiment and just put each little piece onto the butterflies. I thought it would be kind of fun to do. There we go. And give everything a good press. And then I was thinking, you know, there's a little bit of the yellow on the top, and it still doesn't feel like the butterflies are popping so much. So I have a kind of very pale yellow pastel, and I have a dry brush, and I'm just going to brush out the pastel just to kind of give it a little bit of a glow around the butterflies. And to help set the pastel, I'm just going to add a little bit of water to it. Nothing fancy. I'm not doing any glues, no fixatives today, just easy peasy lemon squeezy. And then give it a good dry, and I wanted some splats. So here's this fun little trick. I'm taking a Posca pen and I'm just kind of getting some of the paint out, and then I am blowing it onto my page. This is something I learned from Seth Apter. So here, I'll show you. You just up to your lips and blow, and look at that, you got paint splats. Now, depending on how close you are to your page or far away, you're gonna get different splats. I love it. It's unpredictable and fun, but it gives a little extra something to your page. So I'm just doing that with the white and the black Posca pens here. So now right here, I probably should have called it done, but you ever have those moments where you're like, oh wait, maybe if I just add this one more thing to it, and then you're like, no, I don't like that at all. So here's what I did. I added some more pastel over top of that pen, and then just took that pen and drew squiggle lines all over the place. So shh, don't tell anybody, nobody has to know that I made a mistake, and this is a way to make it look like it was supposed to be there all along. Now I'm just going to wet where that pastel was to kind of help it adhere to the page, and we are going to call this baby done. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed getting grungy with me. We have sparkle, we have texture, we have grunge, we have everything that makes my heart happy. I hope when you create that you are creating in your place of happiness as well. And if you created alongside me today, or you did your own thing in your paper bag journal, don't forget to use the PB Journaled hashtag over on Instagram so I can see all of your masterpieces. It's been so awesome to see everybody's take on the journal and the pages that they've come up with. It's amazing. Again, thank you so very much for hanging out with me today, and until next time, happy creating.